Word combinations have existed throughout history. Some are good, and some are just ungodly, like peanut butter and banana sandwiches, fried Twinkies, and pineapple on pizza. This desire to mix salty and sweet has even bled over to our preferred entertainment. There are some that are great and deserve to be revisited, but there are those, like before, that are simply a sin of nature. So come join the panel as we discuss the bad, the good, and the never should have existed of famous crossovers tonight on Dispatches from Outside the Box.
In the spaces, things exist. In the lines that form the network of your mind. Behind the retinas of imagination are the particles and peripherals that made you who you are. Turn off, shut your eyes, and listen. Dispatches from outside the box.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm C Michael Lanning, independent artist, mad scribbler, and show coordinator. And before we meet our panel, I'd like to invite you to like, subscribe, and share, and of course, hit the bell icon, not only for this show, but for all the great shows that we have right here on Ragin 2 Broadcasting Network. And speaking of which, one of our first guests on the panel is a regular, Daphne Lage. Introduce yourself.
Hello, and before I get started, I will fight you on all those culinary atrocities
I
came
out. I knew I was coming out the gate.
I will fight you on all of those.
Thank you.
I will say this: I've never had a fried Twinkie, but it's intriguing.
Right.
I've had a fried banana before. They're pretty delicious.
Yeah, exactly.
Fried Oreos are pretty good too.
Pretty much everything. Yeah, exactly. Especially fried
Just
pickles.
stick it in grease. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. It's all good. It's all good. So hello, everybody. My name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. Speaking of culinary atrocities, I have been self-publishing comics since 1992, and I am known for the funny animal fantasy adventure Tall Tales, which is in its last 7 days on Kickstarter. Links in the show notes below. And I am also known for my medieval fantasy soap opera drama, Ego Raven, which I really do need to figure out an easier way to say that, which is also on Kickstarter on pre-launch. So like I said, everything is in the show notes below. I am also co-host with Nita Lanning on the Ragin 2 The Vlogs Network. Actually, just on this network, every Monday through Friday on, like I said, this network.
It's a crossover.
Exactly. And that you can read both my comics online at Tall Tales, TAILS online.com, and egoworks.com, EGOWRKS. And you can also check out all my videos on how I make my comics on YouTube at Daphne Lage, Lager, which also is simulcast through the Ragin 2 network. So there you go. One button to rule them all.
There you go. And of course, we have one of our regulars, Randy Zimmerman. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Hey, everybody. If you haven't tried fried ice cream,
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
that is
Really?
delicious.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yes. Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
See,
Anyway.
I've never tried it, but I could see that one being
It's intriguing. It's
It's
intriguing.
It seems to be a Mexican delicacy.
Yeah.
Oh,
A
okay.
great Mexican dessert, especially if it's done right.
Yeah.
My wife's half Mexican, and they know all the best places to go for Mexican food in town, and the Mexican fried ice cream, just delicious. Anyway, hey everybody, I'm Randy Zimmerman. I'm a longtime alternative and independent comics creator, publisher, self-publisher, especially in the independent and alternative markets. I've done just about everything that you can imagine in this business for many years, many decades, in fact. And I'm still doing more. I do the Zimcast that's on tomorrow night, Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. and the Sunday Funnies that's on at 9 a.m. And these two over there, well, everybody here kind of pops in and out of the show as we go along. They're always welcome. So tune in for that. Other than that, I've done all sorts of stuff. So and you'll see all sorts of more stuff from me in the next few months. So it's all good.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, we're all about crossovers on this network. That's what we're about. So, speaking of which, down here, our special guest tonight, Brian K. Morris. Introduce yourself, sir. Special guest who's always invited on no matter what we do.
I'm
so.
no
Right,
one.
exactly.
I'm no
Right.
one. Imposter syndrome is seizing me at this very moment. And besides, if you like pineapple pizza, go to Donato's, which is a Midwestern chain because they make it the normal way, but they add slivered almonds and a light sprinkling of cinnamon.
Oh, it's a dessert pizza.
Almost. It's savory and sweet. So anyway, just see, now you've got something, folks. Now you've all been converted to pineapple pizza, and you're welcome. Anyway, I'm a writer, editor, publisher, broadcaster, risingtide.pub. I've got a new book coming out based on the Black Terror later this summer called The Terrors, and it's shaping up well. I am now a genuine award-winning author.
Yes, you are.
Yay! Thank
Hey.
you. Thank you very much. For Snow Ambition in this book, I'm also in this book here, Major Marjorie, a throwback to 1940s science fiction, both available on Amazon. I frequently barge my way into wonderful shows like this and bring down the level of conversation whenever I can. I also do a show on Thursday nights called Comic Book Spectrum on the Brian K. Morris Rising Tide channel on YouTube and on Facebook. And I am also throwing the baton to Nicholas Anthony Tockert, who is also on the Ragin 2 network Thursday mornings with Luke Stone and Mike Jimmy Lorcha de Bruin on Nerd Bacon, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central. # always promote your friends. And he's going to take over tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. on his channel, on the Historical Fencing Guild, and on the Nicholas Tockert channel. He's going to be amazing. Please go on and tell him that he's better than Brian said he was. So anyway, no, actually, he's going to be fantastic. I'm genuinely looking forward to seeing what he does, and thank you for having me. I'm so glad
absolutely. I'm so glad you're here. And of course, the magnificent Mitch Rogers. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, I'm Mitch Rogers. I'm a sorry. I got my dog on my lap. So
That's
just give me
okay.
pause. That's what.
You're a dog
that's what
owner.
it is. Yeah. Yeah, I'm an independent comic book independent horror comic book writer and artist. Here from the great state of South Carolina. I've been in the industry since 2008. And Zim just left.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
well.
no, that's his internet going out.
Yeah, that's his
so,
internet. Oh, well,
Yeah.
he'll come in and out. Well,
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's the excuse. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's intimidated.
so, all right. So, let's see. Let's hit some of these chats real quick. Of course, Niobe says, I got your book, Randy. Randy, when you come back, hopefully you'll see that.
Yeah, that's the he has the long shots campaign books. Everyone's just which I'm a little surprised it was taking. It took this long. I would have thought that.
Larry said it was quick for him. I guess.
Oh, okay. I guess it works out. Yeah.
Did it arrive in good shape? Yeah, I mean, and they're having a whole conversation over here.
But then again, Larry is in Canada, so that's probably why it's a surprise to me.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So again, we're talking about crossovers, and we'll talk about any crossovers. You throw a crossover on the table, we'll talk about it. We're talking about TV. We're talking about movies. We're talking about comic books. What makes a good crossover? Anybody?
Wow. I mean, it's like because crossovers are a strange thing because it's like that's almost like fandom wish fulfillment.
Right.
When you really kind of get down to it. And it's almost by luck that a lot of that some crossovers actually work.
Yeah.
But like to start off with, but the thing is though, sometimes they're just so random you don't even think about it. Like I remember growing up watching Wacky Races.
Oh, right.
The Hanna-Barbera Wacky Races, and it's and it never occurred to me that was an issue. While of course, Captain Caveman is racing the Shmoo and the Flintstones and Penelope's pit stop. That's normal, right?
Yeah. What was it, Jabberjaw?
Exactly.
Jabberjaw,
it's the entire Hanna-Barbera, pantheon racing each other. So I mean, that was I guess you could say that was kind of like my first my first taste of crossover without knowing what it was.
What it was,
just,
right?
Yeah.
And mine was it was in TV also. It was how the characters from Petticoat Junction, Green Acres, and
Beverly Hillbillies.
Beverly Hillbillies. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that.
They would all pop into each other's programs at random. They were all produced by the same guy, Paul Henning. And I just thought this was something magical, because you didn't see Paladin crossing over with Brett Maverick in my misspent youth, but all of a sudden here are all these Mr. Drucker's waiting on all of them. So it's just it took me a while to adjust to that. But that was probably my first thing.
There is a fantastic photograph of all three cast members enjoying Thanksgiving dinner.
I wouldn't doubt it.
That is it's fantastic to just sit there and see everybody and all mashed together. It's pretty wild.
Well, that's fantastic.
Well, I remember watching the Beverly Hillbillies, and I probably saw people. I didn't really watch Green Acres too much till later on, and so I probably have seen somebody and didn't even realize who it was, unless it was a pig. I might have realized if it was Arnold. Is that the name of the pig?
Arnold the pig. Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
So I probably wouldn't even realize that they were crossing over. Although we saw a really cool crossover the other day. Randy showed on his of Green Hornet and Batman. It was one of those. It was a cameo, really. But
on the '60s show.
Yes.
Yeah. Wasn't that?
It's a damn Xfinity against grinding. So sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. But that was Bruce Lee that was in that episode, right?
And Van Williams, yes.
Kano.
Plus they also did that window, the guest star window, a few weeks prior to that to kind of tease that.
Oh, well, so that's what I saw. I don't remember the. I'll have to go back and.
There's a 2 episode.
If you want to read more about it.
Shameless plug time.
There you go.
Always promote Daphne.
I'm waiting to be able to have enough money to get those because that is definitely on my to want list or to wish list or whatever you want to call it. So, but
to want list.
To want
to need. Right?
They're synonyms as far as I'm concerned.
There you go. Want, need. I think one thing that's always stood out when I think of crossovers, believe it or not, what comes to mind is the Jetsons and the Flintstones.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think because those are such a they're too drastic. Of course, they're the same company, but it's such a drastic. You have the future and you have the past. So,
but technically they were the same thing. Technically, I mean, it was just the Flintstones, and it's just the same template that they just did twice.
George Jetson's just a little skinnier Flintstone.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but the dynamics
are
pretty much the same.
I got you. Yeah.
They had another show. They They had another
No, go
show
ahead.
they were showing on prime time. Hanna-Barbera did called that was about a modern day professional football family called Where's Huddles.
Oh,
That had the same
I
form.
forgot about that.
wow. No.
Yeah.
Formula.
Well, if it worked for the Flintstones,
Yeah.
why not? Right? Well, okay. Well, I'm curious then. That
Exactly.
begs the question. If the Flintstones was kind of based on what, the Honeymooners, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So what was the Jetsons based on anything? What was
The
it? Like maybe.
Flintstones.
Yeah,
Pretty
right.
much the Flintstones, yeah. And also Scooby Doo was based on Dobie
Dobie
the Many
Gillis.
Lives of Dobie
Right,
Gillis.
yeah.
Dobie Gillis,
yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Bob Denver. That was, I remember Bob
Yeah.
Denver, and that way before he played Gilligan. But I mean, he was
You
a
rang?
stoner.
Right, like it was originally supposed to be kind of like the hipsters. I'm not, yeah, the hippies versus the like, I don't know, the prep kids or something, whatever they
Right.
called them back
Yeah.
then. But then they just turned it into like, no, they're all together.
Yeah, right. Well, he was, but Bob Denver was kind of Dobie Gillis's best friend, right? Then
Maynard
Yeah.
G. Krebs.
Right.
He was Unicute.
Uh,
And
Of course,
Swaby.
I know
Nope,
Bob
the
from
boner.
Gilligan. So
Everybody
yeah,
knows
exactly.
Bob from Gilligan. Yeah.
right, yeah.
So when I finally did see him on Dobie Gillis, it's like, hey, that's Gilligan. I said, man, he sure is acting like Shaggy.
Yeah, he was also Charlene Darling's husband on Andy Griffith too. He was the second
Oh, really?
actor. Yeah, the second actor to play him. The first one, the first time you see her husband, he's a different actor. But all the
Oh, they
all the
pulled the
subsequent-
bewitched on him.
yeah, all the subsequent appearance
Darren.
of
Yeah.
Dub, I think his name was
Mhm.
So-
Bob Denver.
So like Andy Griffith, now that was spun off of the Danny Thomas show.
Correct.
Right. So
Yeah.
that wouldn't be a crossover, right? That was a spinoff. So we wouldn't count that as a crossover.
Well, I guess it was
Or does
kind
it?
of
Like
like Archie Bunker and the Jeffersons.
right.
Oh yeah.
You know, that they were spun off from each other. And that's the thing, because it's like you showed a clip of He-Man and She-Ra, but it's like, would that even count as a crossover if they're technically in the same universe?
I have it on good authority, my wife, that yes, it's a crossover.
Well, to me,
I
a
guess that settles
crossover.
that.
We'll oh yeah, I know that settles it. Yeah.
To me, a crossover is more or less two currently existing properties
Right.
crossing over instead of
True.
like
Yeah. A
one
spinoff.
kind of springing off of the other one.
Right. I mean, but the thing is though, right, it's like, and the thing is though, is it more like unrelated? You know, like kind of like Wacky Races, where it's like you had all these different characters from all the different shows together in one show, but like technically it doesn't make sense for them to be together, but they're just together.
They're just
Well,
together.
they started out with Wacky Races first, and then spun Pauline and Dick Dastardly off on their own.
Right.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Muttley
right.
off on his own. Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't spin off the Cavemen or the Haunted House on Wheels or any of those other crazy
Right.
cars.
Okay. Well, that actually brings me to the question, because I've actually had this conversation before. So when you're looking at a crossover, let's say within the Marvel universe, we were talking about right before, New York is kind of crowded. It's not everybody. So if it's same characters in that same Marvel universe, is that a crossover? Or for instance, like DC, Superman and Batman. Now, it used to be Batman used to be in the same city as Superman.
Well, Metropolis and Gotham are two different cities, even though they're both based on. Well, Gotham is supposed to be based on Chicago, isn't it? Although there are places downtown in Manhattan that are called Gotham. That's called Gotham. So I always assumed it
Yeah.
was based on that.
Yeah, and I think
From the way I
Whatever.
understood it, Metropolis and Gotham were on both sides of New York.
Mm.
yeah, I think Mark Gruenwald years ago, before he turned pro, used to say that like Gotham was in New Jersey and Metropolis was in Connecticut.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Why?
That's kind of like, oh, all right, no.
Yeah, and Central City was in Ohio. Gateway City was in Missouri.
Was St. Louis.
Right, I
St.
guess.
Louis. It was St.
Gateway
Louis.
City was St. Louis. Keystone City was Milwaukee,
Oh, that's
Minneapolis,
right.
Yeah, and
wow.
Ivy Town was Boston.
wherever Keystone beer came from. Yeah,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Ivy Town was Boston.
Mhm.
Yeah.
well, okay. So if
That's
I'm not
why
mis-
that's why Mega City 1 is just easy.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a Judge Dredd fan. It just saves so many arguments.
Yeah, the mega cities are real easy geographically.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if you look at Batman versus Superman, it was right across Gotham and Metropolis, right
Right.
across the river
Yeah.
from each other.
They
Sure.
could just take a
Yep.
bus. They could save gas on the Batmobile.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah, and I kept getting confused what city they were currently in.
Right.
Well,
I'm
that's
like,
because
wait, are they in Gotham or Metropolis? Because they both look the same.
Yeah. Yeah, they both
Metropolis.
look like New York.
Yeah, yeah. Metropolis was cleaner.
Well, they
well,
look
no,
like
not at that
Manhattan.
time.
They
Metropolis
look like
was
Manhattan. Let me
destroyed.
clarify that.
At that point in time, but if there's a bunch of rubble around, it was Metropolis. because
Oh, yeah,
of the
there you
Spawn
go.
Incident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Disaster porn. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, when
But-
they said
Yeah.
that, I was thinking back to Man of Steel, and not once ever in Man of Steel did you see the bat signal in the background because they're it's supposed to be like across the same bay or harbor. It's like, wait a minute,
Right, you can see it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
can't. But what that?
Don't
But they
cross
say,
the streams. That's
Yeah.
rule number one. Don't cross the streams.
don't cross the streets.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, but when you see it, you had it's like Batman show up in Superman, and I can't tell you when that first happened. Whenever they had
World's Fair Comics. They had them all together on a cover, and it sold so well they started up World's Finest.
Finest, yeah, okay,
And then from there on, Batman and Robin always teamed up with Superman on some crazy adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were in issue was it All Star Comics 36, where they just kind of walked in on the Justice Society of America, didn't do a whole lot, and then walked out again.
That's all that they ever did in Justice
Yeah.
Society is pop in and wave and then leave. Just like Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman popped in what was it, All Star? Well, she initially, her
Yeah.
first appearance is All Star 8,
Right.
I think it is. And then she popped in for one adventure, and then she was relegated to secretary
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah.
Because Moulton insisted on writing that episode with her in it. And it was...
Hey,
I mean,
what's-
her part of that episode, and it turned really bad. So they turned Gardner Fox turned her into the secretary for the club and just had her at the front and the back. Of the,
And who was this? Who did he turn into a secretary?
what?
Who was turned into a secretary?
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. Well, duh. Who else is going to take notes?
Even after Black Canary joined the team, she was still secretary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then
Okay.
I think right towards the end of the All-Star run, she was involved in one or two of the adventures right towards the end.
Right.
Well, that's a
But
whole
that
nother,
I think that was after Moulton had passed. So
that's a whole nother program right there.
It
So okay, so we see. So would that be considered a crossover? Was World Finest considered a
that's-
crossover comic?
All-Star, I think, is the ultimate crossover. That's
Oh,
where
yeah.
that's one of my favorite comic covers of all time is All-Star 3, where they're all sitting around a table. No action going on, just they're all sitting there waiting for coffee. Just a great
So-
cover.
and Wonder Woman comes in.
Right.
No, that was before Wonder Woman.
Coffee.
She come in at
They
8.
wonder
Yeah.
take a note by them. Okay. Anyway.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So are comics the first signs of crossovers, or maybe it was the older movies, huh? Where we started
I would
seeing.
think, I would think crossovers were earlier than would be earlier than that. Like pretty much, the second people had favorite characters, they want to see them interact somehow.
Right. Or like a lot
Yeah.
of old radio shows. Of course,
Yeah.
then we could consider some of them guest stars and such.
Right.
Sure.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
You know.
yeah. True.
Because you
and,
always
you know,
had Jack Benny and Fred Allen always arguing with each other. That was kind of a way to boost both of their brands, is to have them both, picking on each other.
I mean, it's like goodness. We had Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein, didn't
Yeah.
we? Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
just
technically,
get enough
the
love.
universe.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, technically, the Universal monster movies are the first shared universe in film.
Right. Oh.
Yeah.
Point. Very good point.
Yeah, if you think about it.
Frankenstein
because
versus
they
a
were-
werewolf, I think.
Yeah.
was,
Frankenstein
Wolfman.
versus
Yeah.
Wolfman. Yeah.
Wolfman, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, the only time Bela Lugosi ever played the monster
Huh.
was in that.
Right. Right. And you had a couple of the
Mhm.
movies like The House of Dracula, The House
Yeah.
of Frankenstein, where
they
everybody
all
just kind of
crossed
runs
over.
through. Yeah.
Right.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great
because it's like, look, from time, it's like there was always, you could always imagine like there was somebody going, I kind of wonder what would happen if Frankenstein and the Wolfman fought. Who would win? You know, who would say, what if the Phantom and the Shadow had an adventure together? You know, it's that
Well,
type of thing.
they had an entire cartoon series in the 80s. That
Defenders
was just,
of the Earth.
Yeah, that was just the
Yeah.
old classic comic
It was
strip
like
character
Flash
crossing
Gordon.
over.
I think like Flash
Yeah,
Gordon was in
Phantom.
that, and
Mandrake the Magician.
Right.
Phantom.
Yeah, they all fought
I
Mean
remember
the
that, yes.
Merciless.
Yes.
They had Hanna-Barbera had an entire season, I think, drawn up, or they were in production of all of their superhero characters all meeting one another. Space Ace or something like that. Space
Right.
something.
Yeah.
And they had to scrap it due to the writer's strike.
Mm.
Ooh, what a shame.
Yeah.
Although
There's
DC
still
did-
if you snoop around YouTube, there's probably an episode or two of it up there.
Yeah, although DC put out a series about 5 years ago, I think, called Future Quest or something.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That was brilliant because it
Yeah.
was like Johnny Quest and
Right.
Space Ghost and the Herculoids and all the action characters, Frankenstein Jr. from Saturday Morning, and it actually managed to make sense.
Frankenstein Jr. Yes, look it up,
Yeah.
kids. It's awesome.
Yeah, no,
It is.
Yeah,
Really
really,
good.
really.
Buzz Conroy. Yeah. And the Impossibles, the superhero
Yeah.
team that was on there with Frankenstein Jr.
But they
Also
were
genius
based, yeah,
stuff.
Love
it's like
them.
they were
Yeah.
based on the Monkees, I think, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were a rock and roll band that disguised themselves
There
as
you go.
superheroes. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Man,
There's the old Defenders of Earth.
Now, see, this is what gets. So now, Mitch, you just stirred up like nostalgia pot. What have you? Because
okay.
that's what I was confused about. Because when we were talking about Flash Gordon a couple of weeks ago, and I saw Ming, and it's like, what? I thought he was green. But I
No,
remember him being green.
He's green in the cartoon there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what
Yeah.
not in the movie. Actually, that was the first time I saw the movie. But
You don't put
Yeah, so-
green on Max von Sydow,
No.
no,
right? Absolutely not.
you talk about Max von Sydow. I used to work with a guy in a video store, and every time somebody would come in, he always talk about everybody. Oh, anybody who's ever played Jesus died, and it's like,
Like, oh, that's
What are you
usually what
talking
happens.
about?
Yeah,
That seems to be inevitable. Yeah.
Yeah.
they live long enough, sure.
everybody who
The
plays
real
anybody's going to die.
The real trick would be if they came back to life.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
I hate
that's-
method actors.
well, that's what I'm saying. It's like Max von Sydow. I'm like, wait a minute, I
Right,
think
yeah.
he's still alive.
At the time, yes.
Right.
right at the time. Right, this is 1999, so I'm like, you get this, but
Yeah, he was still up and kicking.
Right.
That's right.
Somebody keep an eye on William Dafoe then.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
you played the wrong kind. That's why. Oh my gosh. But anyway, so let's move on. So but there are some really crazy crossovers nowadays. I saw the other day My Little Pony is crossing over with everything now, I see.
Right. Well, that's
And-
what through IDW, right? It's like
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, they've been doing that with all of their licensed stuff lately. You know, they're just like, you know.
Yeah.
You knew comics was at a high point when Archie met Punisher.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
that
best.
was. Those were
The
some weird
best.
crossovers. I mean, because it's like, look, to this day, who was smoking that said, yeah, Archie versus the Predator.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
You know,
That wasn't
I
that
mean,
bad.
it's like, and that's the thing, because that's what I keep hearing, that it's like, as ridiculous as the concept is, as random as it is, the stories were actually pretty good. So,
Yeah,
who knows? You know?
Here, let me pull this up because I saw a picture from this today that was a spoiler, and I don't want to put it up there because it might be a spoiler.
Who asked for this? Who asked?
Yeah.
Who asked for Archie versus Archie and the Predator? Who asked for this?
And not only that, they got a sequel to it.
Right.
No, is that
Uh-huh.
well?
Yeah.
Who was left? I mean, like
They
Like,
managed. I read
my-
it.
like who? Okay, so Betty's like missing a hand.
Yeah, it's like,
and-
obviously they got Quentin Tarantino to write this.
Apparently. Yeah.
Hi, kids. It's your favorite characters. I remember these
Exactly.
from when I was a kid.
Right. Like, honestly, though, I mean, it's like I'm looking at this and it still doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, who asked for this?
well, see, that's what. Okay,
It's
how
like
did that work?
Yeah,
Who up there at
exactly.
Archie actually approved it? That's what I
Right.
want to know.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like really, it's like, you know, I want to see Archie get murdered. You know, it's like it's like who asked for that? Like I'm looking at it. It's in my eyeballs right now. I'm like going, who asked for this?
Yeah.
You know?
But see, here's the thing that I don't understand. Who oh my gosh. I see you over there.
Yeah, I see you too, Nita.
Yeah, Nita.
It's awesome. I do. Me.
Well, you skipped one.
Yes.
No, I'm gonna go back
Demographic
to
they
it.
were going
I
for.
needed that age.
you
Yeah.
skipped the
Well, no,
comment.
because before that, she's talking about Bonos.
You can't. Right, there
Bonus
we go.
crossover.
Well, that's a
Yeah.
brony thing. So
Yeah.
you know, actually,
Well,
no,
that's
it
why I
predates bronies. It honestly, look, you know, bronies did a lot of things, but crossing My Little Ponies with porn was not exclusive to them.
That's illegal in at least 5 states. I'm sorry.
Most likely. And legal in 17.
Oh my God.
And mandatory in at least one.
Oh,
Going in front of the Supreme Court next term. Yeah.
So,
Said all crossovers. We got. But no,
yeah, but the thing is, though, but in the end, though, we are talking about because like I said, crossovers and fandom, that's like peanut butter and bananas. It's like that's inevitable. Like it's literally, you know, you're gonna get fan fiction of everything,
Only if
But-
it's deep fried.
right? And it's gonna be deep fried, yes, right. And you know,
Looking
but
at
we're
you,
talking-
Alabama.
Yeah, but we're talking about like I guess like officially sanctioned crossovers, you know,
Well,
from
yeah,
these companies.
yeah, I mean, if you could throw out any crazy crossovers, I'm sure. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's-
any crossover you want is on AO3 already. so yeah, that's not a problem.
But like what you're talking about, Archie versus Predator, and what I don't want to say I have a problem with it because I don't care what you do with Archie,
Okay.
but Predator maybe, but
Neither does Archie, apparently.
apparently not.
The check cleared, and that's all they need to know.
Right.
But the
yeah.
whole point of Predator was like, okay, if he saw somebody without a weapon, he wouldn't kill him, right? Or they wouldn't kill. I don't know. You know, they wouldn't kill, right?
Yeah, it
yeah,
does, it
see
does
him as a
kind of
threat.
go against the idea of the Predator, yeah.
And like, okay, so
Yeah,
what?
Because the whole point is that it's supposed to be kind of like a fair fight or something. That it's
Yeah,
like
he's a
that you're
hunter.
yeah, he's a
Right.
hunter, and you know you have to, you know, fight
Maybe he's-
back, kind of, you know.
Maybe
But-
he just has a screw loose or something.
But you know what? But that leads up to another crossover that, you know, Aliens versus Predator.
yes,
You
absolutely.
know, that it's like you have like the two, like literally that was some people in fandom going, and then the studio's going, and and to this day they're still trying.
so
But
what
really,
was the
it
first?
started with Dark Horse going, I think we can make some money
Yeah.
on this.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Well,
God,
the
yeah.
Dark Horse
Godzilla
crossover
meets
was
really
Charles
good.
Barkley.
right. Oh, that's true. That's true, right?
Yeah.
Those commercials, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's yes, an official sanctioned crossover.
Yep.
Then they made a
right
comic
now,
book out
the
of it.
Power Rangers are battling
Right.
Godzilla and IDW.
Right.
Well, that
But
makes
you see,
sense,
that makes sense. Yeah, that's what I was
does in
going to
a way,
say.
it does.
That makes sense. I can. It's kaiju and Power Rangers
Right.
is so kaiju.
Right, yeah, that
Megazord.
makes sense. Right, yeah. Hey, see, and that's the thing. That would make sense. It's kind of like, you know, there's always been this rumor about a Pacific Rim Godzilla crossover. And now that Legendary owns both property, or it's like, or they have the licensing for both properties,
Yeah.
that the rumors for that are a lot stronger now. But the thing is, though, that makes sense. Again, kaiju. It's like Godzilla's a kaiju, even
Right.
though they don't
Okay.
officially call him that.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
you know.
Wait, if Godzilla's not a kaiju, am I missing that whole thing? Because that term's new to me, like only 2 or 3 years. So
Right. Well, that's the I guess that's the genre, the giant monster genre in Japan. It's kaiju something. It's like it's one of those things you have to Wikipedia. I don't know. It's like,
Just like Gundams, right?
Yeah.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
Gundams I think is specific to
It's a
that
mecha.
particular franchise.
oh,
And
mechas,
Gundam
yeah,
is a mecha.
mecha.
Yeah,
Mechas, yeah.
mecha is I guess like the genre. Gundam is the specific.
Yeah.
series.
There's so many different Gundam series. It's crazy.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Most of them are good, I would argue.
Yeah.
Most of them are good.
Yeah.
I never been into mechas like that. Like Voltron, when I was coming up, Voltron was moderate. I wouldn't say popular, but
Right.
it's cult following. I never got into Voltron. It just
Right.
didn't.
It
But
depends on what you're into. Me, it was just like, oh, the characters are hot. Yeah, I'm watching. Ooh, cute anime guys. Okay.
Yeah. If you like your mecha with a little bit of philosophy, Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Right. Yes.
There you
exactly.
go. There
Yeah.
you go.
Uh huh.
yeah,
but,
I've been to that one.
right.
That one didn't click with me. I'm sorry.
Right, but that could be its own. But that definitely can be its own
Yeah.
episode. Kaiju's and
Oh yeah. In fact,
mecha. Yeah.
well, that's one thing that kind of brought it up. For sometimes that's what happens is you start thinking of future episodes and those kind of things happen and are come to mind, and you look at Godzilla versus King Kong.
King Kong. Yeah.
So you wonder what that was like in the room when they said, "Hey, you know who Godzilla should go up against?" This is big monkey.
Well, the thing is, I think that the original had a lot to do with the fact that it was, a Japanese monster versus an American monster because they're
Well,
two
no. It's a Japanese icon up against an American icon.
Well,
True.
that even
That's
yeah,
really
exactly.
what it was about,
That's actually more accurate. And there's two versions of that movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like there's the Japanese version where
know that.
Godzilla wins, and then there's the American version that the King Kong wins.
Which is
It's
right.
like
Yeah.
Clue.
Yeah, right. And then you have the bonkers version of it that came out. I mean, really, it's like, I saw the original Toho version. And honestly, I think that the one that they did recently, a couple of years, was it? It's like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
The
2 years.
Godzilla versus
Kong.
versus Kong.
Yeah.
That one was even more bonkers than a freaking high kick, flying kick from Godzilla. The original.
Mhm.
That movie completely. That was a movie that embraced the absolute ridiculous concept they were running with.
Right.
Like it
Yeah.
was incredibly unapologetic. They
Mhm.
just did it. You could literally see the executives going, but what about shh? It's Godzilla versus Kong. Shh. That's all you need to know.
Great.
Don't apply any logic. Just
Right,
sit back
but-
with your
but what about
popcorn and enjoy it.
Right, exactly. It's like shh.
Yeah.
That's what it was
Watch
made
the
for.
monkey fight the lizard.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
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 And then for good measure, we'll throw a metal one in there too. So.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just
Wait a
for
minute,
fun.
The script makes
and
sense.
a
Hold on a
giant
second.
axe.
Out it goes.
Right. And a giant axe and a Conan throne. And it's like, yeah. Look, the only other movie that was more committed to how bonkers it is John Wick. Like speaking of crossovers, the last John Wick movie, I was literally expecting Blade to show up. That's how crazy John Wick became. I told JD, if Blade shows up in this movie, I will be so not surprised by this point.
But the first one is such a classic.
Right, yeah, the first one.
That
Yes.
when the mafia boss goes, "You killed his dog."
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like
Uh-oh.
There you go.
He heard. He heard
Yeah.
you say it. Oh no.
yeah,
That's not what really happened. That's not what really
Iconic.
happens. No.
It's, iconic movie. Iconic.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's why I said they don't have to be good to be iconic.
Right, no, exactly.
No,
exactly.
not at all.
No,
Yeah.
Not at all. Yeah. You see, that's that's the funny thing about this stuff. It's like, it with a lot of media, it doesn't have to be good to be emblazoned in your brain for decades.
Right.
Well, that's why one of my favorite comic book team ups was the second cross company one between DC and Marvel with the Hulk and Batman.
Huh.
How they got 64 pages out of that, I'll never know.
Right.
Jose Garcia Lopez, I believe, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's worth
beautiful
it to
art.
see him draw the Hulk
Yeah.
or anything. But
Yeah,
there's
or
a
anything.
Scene, there's a scene where Batman immobilizes the Hulk by kicking him in the stomach. No, that should have driven Bruce Wayne's kneecap up into his shoulder blades. You know?
Hey, he just knew exactly where to kick him.
Oh,
Right,
sure he did, Randy.
Uh-huh.
That's
You
what it
bet.
was.
Of course he did.
But,
Well, I mean, but we're talking about Batman, you know.
that's
so.
true. He knows
Yeah.
everything. No, that's
Batman
the
can
thing.
beat anybody.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There you go. Now, tell me
Yeah.
that's not beautiful.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, I
seriously.
was about to say that. I
Yeah.
mean,
Monster
yeah.
and the Madman.
Yeah,
And then it's written by Lin Win, so I mean,
yeah, and Dick Giordano inked it, one of the best inkers ever. I mean,
Ever.
there's
Yes.
nothing to not love about, but it just doesn't make a lick of sense if you really think about it. But I think that's part of the beauty of a lot of comic book,
Yeah.
especially the cross company ones. It's like, Gen 13 meets Death Blow. Oh, good. The same company, big deal.
Right.
Or
Superman fought Muhammad Ali.
Right,
that
yeah,
was good.
exactly.
That was
Yeah,
great. That was-
exactly.
There's another one that's worth it.
Beautiful.
For the art.
Yeah.
But,
Big treasury, just like this one. Yeah.
Oh,
just
yeah.
gorgeous. Yeah.
oh, yeah, some
Yeah,
are
I wanted to-
marvelous.
well, that's what's real. That's the kind of thing that interests me too. Is like you saw me put Mr. T and Alvin and the Chipmunks in there. So you're talking about real life versus cartoon or whatever. So they didn't have any problems crossing over anything.
I swear, I will
No.
always remember seeing the original to that at Continuity Studios.
Ooh, really?
Always, I mean,
Oh.
it's just like that pure pen and ink, and you see where it's like he had to change some of the faces because they couldn't get the rights to it. Like he originally drew Telly Savalas in there, and then for some reason at the last minute they couldn't get the rights, so he had to cut him out. He had to he's turned the head so you show the bald head there. That's
That's it.
Telly
Yeah.
Savalas,
Yeah.
Right.
but they couldn't get the rights, so he had to turn it. And it's just really funny because on the original you see where he cut it out and glued it down. I mean, it really. I will always recommend going out of your way to see originals. I swear.
I always thought that was Lex Luthor.
No, it's
I did too.
yeah,
to be
it
honest.
was
Look
yeah,
at that. You can spend an hour looking at the crowd alone.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
golly.
yeah.
It's such a beautiful color.
There's
Wonders why
Carter.
childhood-
Is that Ringo Starr in front of
It
Batman?
probably
No, I
is.
believe that's Sonny Bono.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
it
okay.
could
Honey
be.
Bono?
Yeah, there is a key to it. There's
Yeah, there is a
actually
key card to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, where everyone is identified, and I do mean
Everybody, every face that you can see in that crowd
Right.
is somebody famous. Yeah.
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 Are they living? Because this looks like Martin Luther King here. I'm just saying.
Could be.
But
Is that Wolfman Jack or Wolfman Mac? I mean,
That would have been Wolfman Jack, yes.
Yeah.
right here.
And
no, over. Ooh, that's Gaines that you just put your finger on.
Yeah,
Here?
that's
that's Bill Gaines.
Bill Gaines.
Oh, okay.
And in the far left lower corner is oh god, blank down his name. Slaughterhouse 5.
Ray
Kurt
Bradbury.
Vonnegut.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
Kurt
Kurt
Vonnegut.
Vonnegut Jr.
Vonnegut,
That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I'm also seeing Donnie and Marie, the cast of Welcome Back Kotter above them.
Yeah.
Um,
The right hand
Johnny-
corner is President
Donnie
Carter
Marie.
and
Yeah,
his
yeah.
wife.
I mean, I just find it
Awesome.
funny how it's like, yeah, it was Telly Savalas that gave them the problem.
Yeah.
yeah.
All these, it's like you have freaking Jimmy Carter in there, but Telly Savalas couldn't get his shit together.
Nobody loves you, baby. That's what it is.
Yeah. Oh, and I think I see Jeanette Kahn.
I'm sure she's
yeah.
in there. Yeah.
About
Yeah,
2
she's by the
o'clock
pole.
From
Yep.
Wolfman
Yeah.
Jack.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know that guy in the front. I don't know. It keeps reminding me of Jesse Jackson, but
Oh,
that
this-
could be
okay.
just it could just be
That
it's
could
like
be
this big-
Jesse Jackson
Yeah,
because
It could be.
that would look about right for him at that
Uh-huh.
age. Yeah.
yeah.
I can't think of who that would be. The black guy in front. The one that we thought was Martin Luther King because he
Right.
did
That looks like Jesse Jackson to me, but I'm not.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it could be. Could be. What year did this come out?
Oh, I couldn't tell
Late
you.
70s, early 80s.
Okay. So,
Give
but I
me-
do notice.
if you give me a minute, I could dig up my copy and tell you.
There you go.
I know
But,
pretty
okay.
much right where it's at. I'll be right back.
But looking through all of this, I just noticed that the only superhero in here, right? Am I wrong? Is Batman?
I think there might have been other superheroes in the page, but they would have been in their civilian identities.
Ah, okay.
Except for Batman, obviously.
Except
Yes,
for
because
Batman.
he's not in
Batman's
his disguise of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
But don't it make sense to come as Bruce Wayne? I mean, really?
Yeah, it does.
Well, would you even know if it was Bruce Wayne instead of Bat, or knew it was him because he's a dark-haired white guy? How many dark-haired white people are here?
Well, the
True,
fact
good
that you
point.
pointed out Donny Osmond of all things, it's already like, oh, which one?
I swear to God, drawing celebrities is so difficult.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, the fact that you can even, and you know, and that's the thing, the fact that you can look at it. Well, I mean, granted, it's like without the key, it's like because I'm still thinking Ringo Starr, and yeah, it makes more sense that it was
Bono.
Sonny Bono.
no, it's
Bono.
Sonny Bono,
Bono,
yeah.
Sonny Bono,
So it's like because it's like getting likenesses is so difficult. You know, and the fact that you can look at that piece and
That was
pretty
Sonny Bono.
Oh, that was Sonny Bono.
That's a-
Okay,
that's a- yeah.
Here.
all
My
right.
cop-
Oh, here we go. We got a.
The copyright year on that is 1978.
Ah,
Okay.
All right.
okay.
So, do you have a legend on who's who, or?
Yes, I do.
Oh my God!
Oh, like
Yeah.
there we go. The
Inside
first,
front
yeah.
cover, they got them all noted out.
So is that Jesse Jackson?
Number 66 here. That is Angelo Dundee.
Oh, that was Muhammad Ali's trainer.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
All right.
Next to Angelo Dundee is
Which way?
Bundini Brown.
That was another one of his trainers too.
Yeah, that is to the right of Dundee.
Yeah.
And then the small face there
Yes.
next to them, the white guy is Red Ryan.
Who?
It's like, look, it's like, you know what? It's like you're just gonna everyone just gonna have. I'm sure this key is on Google so that
Yeah,
everyone's
right?
gonna
Yeah.
have to look it up so that they
Yeah.
can cross-reference with Wikipedia. To all
Who
of
these
So-
people are, right?
Yeah, it's
Right.
Take a
Kurt Vonnegut.
screenshot.
Right.
But it's got everybody. Bernie Wrightson is in it. Wally Wood's
Oh,
in it. Ed
sweet.
Davis. Flo Steinberg is in it. Gil Kane. The
Okay, that makes
Jacksons
sense.
are all in it.
Oh my gosh!
Sergio
Telly
Aragonis.
Savalas-
Howard
Savalas.
Chaykin.
But Tony Savalas,
Maybe
I think
Tony-
everybody a hard time.
Maybe he's like, I don't like them people. You got to.
Yeah. Or you should have me in there kicking Superman's ass, you know?
Yeah.
that's funny.
Or he could have had like a fee that they had to pay to have them.
Maybe.
131 is keyed to Lex Luthor.
Uh-huh.
Who?
The bald guy is. Yeah.
Right, but that's not what. Yeah, well, yeah,
That's not what it started out being.
Yeah, that's not how it started out because
It's
that's
what it
that's
is now,
what they
though.
told us at Continuity Studios.
Yeah. Mike Gold is 172.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
cool.
It's got even Nelson Birdwell is in this. Mike Nasser.
Yeah, that's a whole bunch. That's the kind of
Yeah,
thing.
you
all of
really
the big
have
all of
to.
the big comic guys at the time are in this.
Yeah.
Joe Siegel and Schuster are in it.
So there we go. We have the ultimate crossover.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
So
There you go.
yeah,
That
yeah,
is the
there you go.
ultimate crossover. Joe Kubert's in it.
But
Frank Sinatra's in it. Jeanette
Yeah.
Kahn is there. She's number 62. Let me see if I can find her. She is
Well-
right above
Bundini Brown, right?
right above Herbert Muhammad's head. Bundini Brown. Yep. Right next to Ron Howard. It's
That's
right
kind
next
of
to
an
that
odd-
pole. Yeah.
odd choice there. But sure, why not?
Right. Yeah.
And then we
Exactly.
can't say-
It's like
Where's Clint
no.
Howard? Is Clint Howard there?
No.
He better be.
No.
Ah,
And it doesn't look like it must be a
What do you
different-
think Ron Howard's
Ron Howard.
sitting on?
Clint is cleaning the restrooms.
It's Opie.
Or what is his
Why
name?
wouldn't Opie be in there?
Yeah.
Or is,
Well,
or is
Well,
Eddie
Barty
Murphy
Fife
called him?
beat.
Doesn't
Opie
even look
Cunningham?
like him. Doesn't look like him.
At that
Then-
point in time, though, it should be what was his name on Happy Days?
Oh, Henry Winkler?
Richie.
No, not Henry
Richie.
Winkler, but
Richie Cunningham.
Yeah.
Richie
Richie
Cunningham,
Cunningham.
yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
is Donnie Post on there?
I don't
But
know. They're
also-
not listening
Yeah,
alphabetical.
but
I'll
that's
tell
not-
you that.
Let me,
Yeah,
but let me
but
ask
like
this
I said,
question.
Yeah.
Let me ask this question. So, when you have that human cartoon crossover, does that really work? Because I know one thing that never worked for me was Space Jam, and that was when I was in high
Well,
school when
because
that came out.
because Space Jam is stupid.
It's supposed to be stupid.
Yeah, it
You know,
didn't
yeah,
aspire
but you see, but again, though, it's supposed to be, and you see, supposed to be implied that it's supposed to be an enjoyable stupid.
right. Yes.
Which
yes.
Space Jam is just stupid.
Just stupid.
Well, I liked it as a kid. I need to rewatch it then because I haven't seen it in a long time.
It hits when it came out, and I'll tell you this. So,
Oh yeah, exactly.
like
The king of crossovers. Who framed Roger
Who
Rabbit?
Framed
Yes.
Oh,
Rabbit?
yeah, forgot
Yeah,
about that.
the king
yeah.
of crossovers, the movie that truly can never be made again.
Oh, absolutely not.
You know, no studios nowadays are going to do that type of collaboration.
No, Disney
Yeah.
will just have by that point in time. Disney will just own it all.
Right. Well, yeah, that would be the only.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the only way. I mean, it's like Disney owns like 70% of the IPs in Hollywood right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't even be a crossover at that
Yeah,
point in time.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we just own you. No, you know, it's funny that was like kind of like the running gag when Disney closed the Great Movie Ride at Hollywood Studios.
Yes.
Because they originally were phasing it out because they didn't want to renew all the rights for everything, and plus the fact that it needed a lot of maintenance and whatnot. And then, like 6 months later, they owned practically 90% of the properties that were in
Wah,
the
wah.
ride. But they were already
Yeah.
in the process of phasing the ride out. So it's like, so everyone's like, oh, if they had just waited.
What did they take the Roger Who Framed Roger Rabbit ride, and they ended up putting a trench coat on Jessica Rabbit?
Yeah, that
Because-
was at the Disneyland because people are stupid.
So, there you go.
Given.
And really, but also at the same time too, Jessica Rabbit. Thank you. Jessica Rabbit is one of those characters that Disney kind of they kind of regret having because they want to use her, but they kind of can't because it's like, well, that's not really the image that they want. But they're cowards.
Right.
True.
You know.
I discovered I was straight.
Yeah, exactly.
But you, I
Like,
bet you
yeah,
know-
if you really, yeah, it's like there's two characters that were like people's, like the average person's awakenings, and that one of them was Disney's Robin Hood, and the other was Jessica Rabbit.
Was it? And the thing about it, what's sad about it is, if you consider Jessica was kind of a throwback to those Tex Avery, to the
Right, yeah.
to the Betty
Right,
Boop and all
yeah.
that and everything. So it's really ridiculous to want to cover it because
Right.
it's basically
Well,
history in a way.
Well, not only that, but the thing is, though, it's actually ironic considering her actual story. I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
Which means that she was upset that people were projecting their bullshit onto her.
Right?
You know,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what's happening. It's still happening to her. People are thinking she's bad, but that's not her. That's just what you're projecting onto her. Has nothing to do with her. So it's just kind of ironic that they're kind of going. They're kind of proving the character,
Yeah.
you know, a bit. So it's like, yeah, it's like I said, they're cowards. Disney is coward. They're all cowards at Disney.
Yes, this is-
True.
This never happened again. Disney will own something like Spider-Man, Lightning McQueen versus Dumbo or Bambi.
Right? Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's
Well,
right.
like,
Yeah, exactly.
Don't give up. Don't give up.
Right.
but well, yeah, that's the thing nowadays. Now thinking back to that cartoon, they might have had the Max Fleischer, but I don't think so. It didn't have like any of the superheroes in it, did it? Like the
No,
Fleischer
they had- well,
Superman,
they just had like Betty Boop, I think.
Did
Yeah.
it have Popeye
Yeah, that was the
too?
only
I
thing.
can't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, Popeye
Um,
was part of that. The Fleisch.
Right.
yeah. But was he in
Superheroes.
Who Framed Up? But see, that's what I say. When they did the crossover for that, though, they didn't really go out of the box of kind of the cartoonish feel like sometimes these crossovers, like say the Archie versus Predator kind,
Mhm.
where and it might be a good story, I don't know, but you still kind of with Who Framed
True
Roger Rabbit,
Studios, yeah.
you still stayed within the framework
Right.
of zany cartoons. Looney
Right.
Tunes was like
Right.
or Merry Melodies was like Disney cartoons or Mickey Mouse and everything. They didn't come out. Now I can see, well, like they just basically they did. We're talking about remaking Who Framed Roger Rabbit. They did it. It was called Rescue Rangers.
I didn't see that, so
I did not either. But
Right.
I've seen enough of it to know that I didn't want to see it.
It's like I've just been yeah, it's just this media lately has just been very uninteresting to me lately.
Same here. Same
Yes.
here.
So I just haven't been keeping up, especially since that Disney is pushing Disney Plus really, 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 really hard. And it's like I keep going, no.
'Cause that's the only thing keeping them afloat.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes. It is.
Yeah, it's like because it's the easiest thing for them to put their money in.
Yep.
It doesn't require them to build anything. It's not physical. I mean, it's like they make it's like they have better returns on it. And but the thing is though, they're concentrating on Disney Plus at the expense of everything else.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's also kind of why I'm not into it.
Well, I can understand. See, but they took Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which I did not realize until maybe a year or so ago was actually based on a book.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did not realize.
They the series of novels. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Oh,
Yeah, it's
really?
more than one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
the
did not know
novels
that,
are
no.
completely different, really.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're a little more adult, huh?
they're
Yeah,
way more
because I
adult.
think that it's called Who Murdered Roger Rabbit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daphne.
Yeah,
And they
you're also
every
more
time they
noirish.
talked, the word
Yeah.
balloon appeared
Mhm.
over their head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's this
Well, I
whole
remember.
thing where it's like the streets are littered with word balloons.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I still want to read it. I want to read it.
Yeah.
Well, because that was a huge thing. That came out in 1988, 89,
Oh my
I
god.
believe. And I had the Who Framed.
Not 20 years ago.
Get
No,
off my lawn, all of
Yeah,
It only
really.
seems like 20 years.
a
Yeah.
little bit longer. Yes, but
It's a little longer.
I mean, it was a big thing. And I went to go see it, but now I
Yeah.
guess I was. Well, we're not going to talk about how old I was anyway. So,
Yeah, shut
Infant.
up.
but yeah, what they did with the what I did see that they did with this new Who Framed Rescue Rangers or whatever was they took like CGI figures
Right.
and put cartoon faces over them, and it was like, oh no, you don't
It's-
understand the work that went into Who Framed Roger Rabbit to get that
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is though, the technology is improving on that. I just recently saw a trailer for Trigun Stampede where it's a CGI base but with a 2D with I guess like a 2D layer on it. So it looks like 2D. And it is really, really nice. It's like it's probably like it's the style that because usually I hate that CG style.
Oh yeah.
I hate it. But this one actually caught my attention with the way I think they really succeeded in imitating a 2D style. But there's a 3D base underneath because the animation is very fluid.
Right.
So it's just that it just depends on who's willing to spend money to get that right.
It's because I've seen they're coming out with more like that because it's almost like rotoscoping.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and that's fine, but you could do it, and that's fine, but do it well.
Well, right. But again,
Look
it
at Ready
depends on
Player
how
One.
right. It depends on how much money a studio is willing to put into that. And that's kind of the thing that Disney is kind of like they're putting money into cranking out all these shows on Disney Plus, but it's getting spread out over so many different properties that all they care about is as long as it gives them the return that they want, it doesn't have to be actually high quality.
Right.
And what I've been hearing a lot of people say is that, okay, so you're getting all these shows on Disney Plus, but then it's like when you go watch something like The Boys, then it's like, oh shit, there's this different. You go watch Umbrella Academy, and it's like you can kind of tell the budget is different,
Right. What?
So,
I have a whole theory about Disney and their budget right now.
well, so do I. It's
So
like,
do a lot of
it's not
people.
theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's called Chapek. He's called Chapek for a reason.
Cheapek, yeah, right.
It's not a theory.
Unfortunately, the writing is the first thing to suffer.
Yeah.
Well,
Budget
you know what?
starts
Even,
going
Yeah.
down. Yeah.
well, to be honest, and not to get off on a tangent, but if you go and you look at that live action Beauty and the Beast, when Belle's walking through the town, yeah, I know it is, but when Belle's walking through the town, or at least I didn't like it, I don't know, but it looks closed in. It looks like a set. It
Yeah.
doesn't look open,
Right.
and which is
Well, that was the
It's
problem
odd for
that
such
I
a
was
huge
that I was
studio.
having with the Star Wars series on Disney Plus is the fact that everything looked like a set as opposed to looking like an expansive universe.
Mhm.
Right.
Because it's like, oh, it's cheaper to green screen it. It's cheaper to have, like, they have this platform and then they just project the
Yeah.
scenery around you.
well,
Like,
it all
they don't
happens on
even need-
Tatooine. So
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like-
Yeah.
no, and that's fine. And if anybody,
Yeah.
I'm not. But Brian, you brought up a property that I didn't even think about was Ready Player One.
Right,
Now-
yeah. Ultimate crossover.
Is
Oh,
it a
yeah.
crossover though? Because those characters aren't.
They aren't the real thing.
They aren't
Right,
the real thing.
yeah.
They're
Exactly.
not real.
Avatars,
But it's probably the closest that you would get to that type of studio collaboration.
Oh yeah.
But I think that it's because, like, Spielberg really
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
a
Yep.
different
You know?
matter if, like, I want to do a Mickey Mouse and G.I. Joe and
Right.
Betty Boop
Yeah.
crossover.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get the time of day.
Right.
So with the fanfic.com.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but otherwise, if I were Steven Spielberg, it's like, yes, sir,
Right.
Mr. Spielberg, 3
Right.
days.
Yeah, right.
And also the thing is too is that the characters were not characters; they were avatars.
Right.
So I guess
right.
it's like so it's like I guess that was a different scenario. The only thing that I mean, I don't know if this is a tangent or not, but especially with Ready Player One, that
Right.
yeah, I know, right? Where the thing that I found most dystopian about
Mhm.
Ready Player One
Mhm.
was the concept that only corporations owned creativity. Like, there was nobody in Ready Player One like hacking their own furry avatar. Like, there was
Right. There's no
one-
mods. Yeah.
Right, there's no mods
Yeah.
in Ready Player One. Everything was corporate owned, including the characters, and it was just
Yeah.
like, that's the thing that
Yeah.
was really like, oh, that's probably the most dystopian thing in here,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, I
Especially
think
when
the
you
book
look at
had some
nowadays.
hacks. I think the
Well,
book
if
had
it-
some hacks you could do, but
Right.
definitely
Well,
not the
think
movie.
about
That's a
it.
good point.
That's Disney, so
Oh.
Yeah.
that's Disney in real life.
Well,
Right.
right,
Very
exactly,
cognitive.
right. Which kind of leads into the conversation as to why, like, people look at independent press, independent comics, just independent media in general with suspicion, because it's like, well, if you're not on Netflix, if a big corporation is not interested in you, how good could it be? But again, that's a completely
Yeah.
different conversation that we can have on a separate episode. But
Yeah.
Our first 12-hour episode, yeah.
right, yeah, exactly.
Well,
you
I'll tell
know-
you what. Let's give Randy a little bit of time to come back, and we'll take a couple of bumps, and then
Right.
pick it up on the other side. So,
All right, sure. There we go.
all right, be right back, guys.
The city of prosperity, riches for some. But for the masses, Scraping by is all they can do. Meet Bitna. It's a hard life with an even harder reality. Living in the roughest part of town, it looks impossible to make it big. But maybe she will find it in a simple dress. The Radiant Sight, a new romance story by Martin Fisher.
All right. And of course, I want to invite you, just like you saw all those great shows, to like us, subscribe again on Ragin 2, where we like to talk about all sorts of things: indie comics, manga, furries, vlogs, pop culture commentary, creator interviews. We have other great shows, not just this one, but other great shows as well, to go ahead and check out. And we also want to invite you, if you do have a Kickstarter and you want to get your books out safely, that way they'll have them in mint condition, so they'll sell for $1 million later on when they become famous. We go ahead and use that. Save 5% on your next Gemini mailer order by using coupon code RAGIN2. And of course, if we have said anything to offend you, especially about pineapple pizza, you can email us at raginabc@gmail.com. There's no such thing as a dumb question, but again, our answers might be. So,
Bring the hate. Bring the hate, people. You know what he said.
yeah, right. Yeah, I knew what I said when I put that on there. I was like, I'm going to hear something about this, especially if Nita was on here. I knew I was going
from half your panel, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Frankenstein's monster looks at pineapple on pizza and says, "God, this is an abomination."
He hits a couple of course, Nita says, "I'm a sheeple and need to be told what to like." Don't like pineapple pizza. On the premiere episode, We Really Be Raging, coming soon. And what happens when we stop talking comics and start getting real? Y'all ain't ready.
Right, really.
That's true.
So anyway, okay, so here, who remembers this? Amalgam.
You know, for a split second, I thought this was like some fan art stuff. But I guess, is it fan art? Is it real?
No, it happened.
Real.
It's
This is
real.
real.
It's very
Yeah.
real.
It happened 97 or 8?
That sounds right.
One of them.
Yeah.
Of course, you have
On that
DC
one,
versus.
yeah.
Let's see. So and they had all sorts of ones. And now when I saw X Patrol, I thought, wait a minute, this is an Image book, right?
Yeah.
It's
But
like I barely remember this. Like there's just some parts that I just black out on. It's like just.
Well, this was
I just-
glorious. This is glorious. A lot of them made sense. Like they combined. Some of them were so creative, like Doctor Strange and Doctor Fate. Doctor Strange Fate. And then there was one. It was what was it? Ghost Rider. And
The Flash.
The Flash. Yes, thank you, Mitch. Speed Demon.
Yeah,
You may start groaning now.
Yeah, it's like considering that most of these characters were like kind of like ripped off from each other anyway.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Oh, and Amazon by with merging of Wonder Woman and Storm.
Right.
Yeah, that was good too.
Super Soldier.
Super Soldier, yeah.
I mean, I guess you got to be in.
Here's the best one. Dark Claw, Batman, and Wolverine.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and his
Wax,
arch nemesis was Hyena, Joker, and Sabretooth.
Great stuff.
That never made any sense to me.
Yeah.
And C's on mute.
Oh, see, yeah, we can't. Yeah, I think his headphones disconnected.
Yeah. And some of the yeah.
Yeah, that because that's the glory of Bluetooth. You know, a bumblebee just gets in the way of the signal, and that's it. You lose everything. You know, but the thing is though, with a lot of these, yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. It's like what is, you know, like what is the catalyst for a lot of these crossovers? Is it literally just people going what if and deciding to, and editors deciding to run with it, you know, or is this something that I don't know, that it's like because comics are big on crossovers.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, because I guess with movies, it's a little bit more complicated. Considering, you know, like having to worry about rights and stuff and whatnot. But it's like with comics, it's like, so are crossovers kind of like a cheap gimmick? Is it?
They can be, yeah.
Right.
I would say yes to all of the above. I'm sure
Not
that
as-
there are people that are like, you know, I could just imagine the team behind Archie and the Punisher salivating
Right.
at
Yeah.
making this work. And what made it even more amazing was the fact they kept it a secret until the solicitation before the internet.
Right. Yeah.
You know, they were sending things via fax between, you know, certain people between
Faxes.
DC and or Marvel rather and
Telex
Archie,
machines.
and had people guarding their fax machines so somebody didn't pick it up and blab it to the fan press. But, you know, I'm sure there's a certain amount of, you know, like, gosh, wouldn't it be neat if we teamed these people up?
Right.
And then there's, you know, probably some suit in an office, you know, it's, you know, wouldn't he probably would think he's on the wrong floor if he got on the comics level.
Right.
And he's like, we know that a Spawn and Batman book will be printing money.
Right.
You know, so I'm sure there's a certain amount of that too. It's, you know, a little bit of a,
Right.
you know, let's have fun versus filthy lucre. So
All right. Well, here's the thing. What's the difference between a crossover and a mashup? Because the thing is, that, like, here I am with my themed shirt today. You know, Minions mashed up with Pulp Fiction. You know, but the thing is, though, like because I think what like crossovers to me is just like it's separate characters that are
Right.
together. But what you were showing with those image books is like, okay, we're mashing up characters instead.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it
Amalgam would be a
doesn't-
mashup.
It
Yes.
doesn't really come off as a crossover to
Right.
me, as that, like, that's more fanish than the actual crossover.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well,
I
what was
agree.
it? What was the idea behind that? What was
Right.
it? Just promotion? Was it just for a push? What was the? I mean, obviously it was for a push, but
Right.
Behind Amalgam,
yeah,
just to have fun and make money.
Yeah, because
Not
DC and
necessarily-
Marvel
not
were
necessarily in
on
that
better
order.
terms back then.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Depends
no,
on
they
who you
knew
ask.
they knew they'd make money just because they were
Right.
crossing the companies over, but the
Right.
companies got along back then.
Right.
well, they still get along today. Just this whole
No, they
fan. Okay.
No,
well, the
no.
whole fan thing is a
Thanks to Joe
That-
Quesada. No.
Yeah, that stopped
really?
during Quesada's days. Yeah. Yep.
Right.
when.
I mean, Disney
had to be
Disney's
pretty
not a-
recently then.
Disney's not a
Well, he
friend
made
to
a couple of
nobody.
snide remarks, and I think there was a ban from DC from that point on.
Yeah, I remember
And-
Paul Levitt saying that when he was publisher at the time that Bill Jemas was, and you know, Quesada and Jemas were like this as far as who could be the badder boy of the two.
Yeah.
And Levitz, who was there for several years as publisher, he said,
Several.
as long as I have anything to do with this company, there will never be another Marvel DC crossover. And then in that time, DC's changed owners, Marvel has gotten picked up by Disney, and they probably have no interest in being crossing over with the other because basically they're competitors.
Yeah.
Oh, give it time and they'll own Warner Brothers, so it won't really matter considering.
Well, yeah. I hope I live to see that day when they own all of our, all of our entertainment, and they manage to
Right.
find a way to do away with the copyright laws and trademarking. So yeah,
Right.
it'd be great.
Or
It'd be a paradise.
even worse, they just shelve everything, and they just shelve all the old stuff, and then it's like kind of like, I mean, what's funny is that I used to goof on people who would say that it's like, oh, like all the old stuff is going to disappear. And it's like, no, it's always, it's like, no, it's like,
Yeah.
no, if you hate the new She-Ra, there's always the old She-Ra to look at. If there's something new that you hate, there's always the old version. But now what Disney is proving, it's like, no, we're going to get rid of the old stuff.
Yeah.
We're gonna make
Yeah.
more
Because
for you to get
as long as
this.
the old stuff exists,
Yeah,
no one's going to like the crap that they're putting out right now.
right, yeah,
And it's not just that, but they're taking the old stuff and they're degrading it as much as they possibly can and then discarding it.
right, yeah.
They already own parts of WB since 2016.
Yeah, I guess it depends
I don't know.
on it. Yeah, I mean, again, it's like it depends on what kind of contracts they have, and then there's like distribution contracts are different. It's a whole different thing. Like technically, Disney finally got all the rights to Star Wars because the distribution deal with 20th Century Fox expired.
Yeah, that's what.
Bought 20th Century Fox.
Right.
It's easier to do crossovers in comics. That's the moral of the story.
But when it comes to corporate like that, it's just easier to buy the other person out
Well, yeah,
and eat them.
exactly.
Yeah, absorb
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Well, we are seeing in indie comics, there are comics out there that are there. People are getting together and getting everybody's IPs together and making their own crossover stuff too. So.
Right, yeah, because I have one more page to finish on a Eagle Raven Oswald crossover, which in and of itself sounds really odd, but no, the really odd one that I asked JD to do that I was really surprised that he was very quick to say yes to. It's like, I want an Eagle Raven Tall Tales crossover, and he goes, yeah, I can do that. And it's like, now I'm curious as to how this crossover is going to happen.
I could see something, magic or whatever.
It would it would have to be something. I mean, it's like, I know that I've dabbled in crossovers, with crossing over my own characters.
Right.
But like, even then, it's like, I kind of have a hard time trying to get that to make sense. And they're my characters.
I can see, what was his name? Ralph?
Ralph,
Is it
yeah.
Ralph, yeah, doing something, and
Yeah,
who knows, right? So,
who knows? Yeah, like I said, so I'm really curious as to what JD comes up, because like I said, I have a hard time crossing over my own characters.
But one of the main ones you have, Batman has crossed over with so many people, and I kind of wanted to talk because we talked about Archie and Predator, which doesn't make sense, but the Batman versus Predator actually does make sense.
In an odd, yeah. But you know why? Because there's the mental reference to the second Predator movie, where it's like what's that actor's name from Lethal Weapon?
Danny Glover.
Danny Glover.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, and it's the Predator in the city.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, once you've established that in canon, then it's like, Batman versus Predator makes complete sense.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, and that was that the first. Okay, so Dark Horse had already done Alien versus Predator when Predator 2 came out. Am I wrong? Am I right about that?
I think it came
No.
a little bit after.
Not the movie.
I think it did.
The
Yeah.
comic.
Yeah.
The comic.
Yeah, the comic.
Because-
Yeah, the comic
after.
Okay, so was it based off of the alien skull in Predator 2?
I
Well,
don't know.
It was kind of inspired by it, I would
Right.
think.
Because I think that originally was an Easter egg. I think that
Yeah.
was just the prop makers messing around,
No,
Yeah.
right.
and
Yeah.
everybody went into a frenzy over
because
the
they did.
concept.
They did almost the same thing. If you ever saw Bride versus Chuck, or I'm sorry, The Bride of Chucky, at the very beginning in the evidence locker, there's a machete, a razor glove.
Oh my god.
There's Leatherface's chainsaw, and I could be wrong, but the Book of the Dead from Evil Dead might be in there too.
Right.
Yeah, that creeps
that
in
was
all
wrong.
over the place.
Yeah. It's just like doesn't like the Ark of the Covenant show up in Star Wars somewhere? I mean, or am I just I'm just remembering?
It was
does.
R2D2 and C3PO were part of the hieroglyphics.
Yeah, that's
in
right.
Raiders of the
Right, it
Lost
was
Ark.
something
Yeah.
like that. Right, yeah.
And in the Senate scene in 2 or 3,
Yeah,
episode
ET,
2 or 3,
right,
there's a
yeah.
couple of ETs. There's a whole
Yeah.
race of them
Yeah.
in one of the boxes.
Right, yeah.
Okay, from what I'm looking at, it
So,
says that
in other words,
Alien
he's a
versus
Jedi.
Alien versus Predator, the comic from Dark Horse, started in 1989. Predator 2 came out in 1990.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
They were probably in production at the same time.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Because the Alien versus Predator, the first Dark Horse crossover, takes place on a desert planet where they're with a rancher
Right.
caught in the middle between the
I
two
would have
species
loved
fighting each other.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen the alien version, where it was like it was an alien in like a medieval city.
Mhm.
You know, and it was like there was an alien ends up in a medieval monastery or something.
oh well, yeah. Well, that's
was
they
one
have
of the-
that new Predator movie coming out, and it's the first Predator movie that I've actually been interested in a while. Is they have Prey coming out next month,
Oh yeah,
which is Predator, but it's like a
It's
Native
a
American
Native
tribe.
American predator.
yeah.
Yeah.
It takes
Yeah.
place
Right.
like a few hundred years ago or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Nice.
So-
What I was startled about, and this might be a little off the topic, but there's like a half an hour video on YouTube where they explain all of the different characters in Predator, all of the different predators, because some of these predators have appeared in numerous movies,
Oh wow.
and
And I
depending
guess-
upon the way that they're dressed and the armament that they have.
Well, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
They kind of allude to that in Predator 2 when they come and pick up the
Right.
corpse of the other one, right? Kind of.
Right.
Yeah,
and
they go through and they describe all of the different predators.
Right. And I think that the movie Predators, they kind
Yeah.
of allude to that even more.
Yeah.
That how the hierarchy works and.
Mm-hmm.
I
and
love that movie. That was so
It's been a
great.
while since I seen it, but
I
that
don't
was
know.
new.
I enjoyed it, but I just still don't buy Adrian Brody as an action hero.
Oh God, no.
Maybe the guy that gets killed because he's done something stupid.
You know, although I
can see
really,
that.
really liked the idea of them somehow choosing a serial killer.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Because the
know,
whole
it was-
movie, you're
yeah.
like why?
Spoilers, everybody,
Yeah,
spoilers.
the whole movie, you're like, why is this one kind of
Right,
weak, wimpy guy with them when you have like
right.
soldier, a yakuza guy, and
Right, yeah,
because they're all like
right, yeah,
hardened, violent people.
right.
Yeah.
And then there's that dork.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
literally,
Well,
it's Topher
yeah.
Grace.
Yeah.
What we're really missing is the actual connection between Aliens and Predator, which is Bill Paxton. I mean,
Yeah.
after all, Aliens 2,
Oh, right.
Predator 2. So
Terminator.
it's really
Yeah.
it's the Paxton universe.
Right.
Wait,
Yeah.
so anyway, let's go ahead and let's tell everybody where we can find each other and wrap it up. Daphne, let us know where we can find you.
Well, it's like if you want to know more about me and my artwork, you can head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWRKS, where you can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites. But I mostly post to Facebook. If you want to actually look through my gallery on Facebook and see all my weird attempts at crossovers in my doodles. And also you can check me out on YouTube at my channel at Daphne Lage Art, which also simulcasts through the Ragin 2 network as well. So at EagleWorks, you can read the first 5 issues of Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, in its original black and white format. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a Lord of the Rings type of adventure, you can follow the link to Tall Tales, TAILS online.com, and read the first 20 issues of Tall Tales for free. And remember that Tall Tales is in its last 7 days on Kickstarter. Eagle Raven is a pre-launch on Kickstarter. All links in the show notes below. Thanks.
All right. Randy, tell them where we can find you, sir.
You can find me primarily on Facebook under Randy Zimmerman. You can always email me under thezimcast@gmail.com. And I am editor-in-chief of Arrow Comics 4.0 and pretty much head honcho of that. So you can find that with a link tree. And we have sites all over the social platforms, and we will be adding more stuff on those pages here pretty quickly here. So I plan on you, if you want to see me in person, I'm going, my first convention in like 3-4 years will be at the really cool Comic-Con in Flint, Michigan on August 6th and 7th. I'll be set up there.
Awesome.
Looking forward to it.
Brian,
Well,
what can we look for you at?
I'm usually in post offices, front side view. But no, go to risingtide.pub if you want to check out all things Brian. We have a link to where you can sign up for my free monthly newsletter where I tell you where I'm going to be appearing, such as Valley West Mall in West Des Moines, Iowa, this coming Saturday and Sunday. We'll have brand new books for you. I haven't been there in about 3 years, so we're looking forward to seeing everybody there. Plus, we're working on a brand new book. You could talk about a crossover. We got a crossover with the Terrors here.
All right.
It should be out late this summer. And also a link to my broadcasting on here. And Thursday nights, I'll be appearing with some of my very learned colleagues as we review brand new comic books and talk about the industry on Comic Book Spectrum at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. And thank you for having me. This has been a blast.
Oh, yeah. Always welcome. Yes, always welcome. You're definitely. And Mitch, you also are always welcome. But so go ahead and tell us where we can find you.
Hi, I'm you can find me at Celtic Cross or Linktree/Celtic Cross Studios, where you can find my website, online store, and my webcomics. And quick update for those watching that back the Indiegogo campaign. The figurines and coffee mugs just came in, so they'll be going out starting this week.
Awesome.
So you can wait on those.
All right. And of course, I'm C Michael Lanning. And while you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, find me here next week where we do the same thing we're doing tonight, except we'll be doing 60 sitcoms and talking about that.
Nice.
So,
Very nice.
So good night, everybody. I leave you with our word of the week.
Yes, master.
Keep these on Dracula.